Rarity Games here, as always, joined by Chris,
What's up,
hanging
everybody?
out, doing another podcast online. Got everything set up much better this time, so we're ready to go. And yeah, welcome. And we are gonna get right into the usual beginning topic. What have we been playing lately? And I know you said you've been dabbling in a few new things, and I just got done Final Fantasy VII finally. So I'm so happy I finally beat that. The hard mode's
Yeah,
insane now.
there's a lot of hours in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah. So what have you been up to, man? What have you been playing?
I am about a hair's breadth away from finishing the second Ori game.
Nice. You finally getting there?
I Yeah, I don't want to say I'm gonna platinum it because there's some crazy achievements in there to
Mm-hmm.
actually get everything. Like, oh, finish the game in one life.
What?
Yeah, dude, it's a Metroidvania, so like they got that challenge stuff in there.
That's a little much, man. One life.
But I unlocked and upgraded all the abilities, all the weapons. I got all the collectibles, like
Okay.
all the like 5 and 6% achievements, like the
Mm-hmm.
rare stuff. So,
That's
uh,
legit
I
though.
I am pleasantly surprised every time I go and play that game about how much I enjoy that game.
Yeah, I feel you on that. That's how I've been feeling about Remnant still, man. Like, cause I took a
Yeah,
little break from it, like a week or so, and right, Drew hit me up and was like, "Yo, dude, I got some free time. You want to play some Rem?" Me and him ran through like 3 or 4 bosses, and I was like, "Dude, I can't get over how much I love this fucking game."
yeah,
Like, I'm literally like every single time I play it, I'm like, "This game is incredible." That's I don't know if you saw it yet, but that's why I made the video on it.
the
I was
video,
like,
yeah.
I have to make a video on this game. People need to know about this game, and
Well,
like, yeah,
well, not only that, but you can always tell it's something you really care about when you start spreading the word to your friends of, "Have you tried this? You got to try this
yeah,
game."
you gotta have it, you gotta do it. Yeah, that for sure. That's a big thing for me. Like, I have to let people know when there's a sleeper hit like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like, it's just it needs to be known. Everyone must know about this game.
Um,
Yeah. What do you also been getting into besides Ori?
a lot of Fallout 76.
Oh yeah, really?
I started a new character maybe a month or two ago before the Wastelanders update came out.
Hmm.
So I had like a level 20 something character going into the expansion,
Okay.
and it was just a little under leveled, so I had to go through some stuff, but it was just right, so it let me get the new content for level 1s, but at the same time start to dabble my toe in like the, oh, you've been playing this game for 2 years, here's some real stuff.
Yeah.
So I stumbled across an underground communist based in the wasteland.
Okay. That
So
makes sense. Sorry, I'm just
they
tweaking some stuff at the moment. I'm not. I'm listening to you.
You're cool. They started to add in a lot more weird guns. Like I got a Tesla electric gun now.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. They really are starting to play with the game a little bit more. They're starting to have some more like the Fallout lore and backstory, and they're kind of just sprinkling all this stuff in there.
Good.
Um,
I'm glad they're finally doing stuff like that. Like that's so important for them to finally like become a Fallout game. Like it's been, almost a year
and
now.
it's all the stuff that people had been complaining about at launch that wasn't there is there
Mhm.
now. It just seems a little, I don't want to say I'm not happy for it, but it just seems a little bit late. If all this stuff was there at launch, or
Yeah.
even half of it was there at launch.
Everyone would have praised the game, even if it wasn't that great or had was janky and all that. People would still praise it because it's an incredible Fallout game. People love them.
Exactly, because it was half of a Fallout game, essentially. It was an awesome map
Mm-hmm.
that didn't have anyone in it.
Yeah, and that didn't make sense to me at all when that they did that. Like I guess they needed to meet their goals for the year money wise, and they needed to get the game out, and they just couldn't finish
I
it.
I think A, they bit off more than they could chew initially.
Yeah, of course.
B, I think they thought the way the game was that people, like real people, were going to fill the gap of an NPC, and like someone is going to role
Yeah,
play a vendor kind of
and it
thing.
did kind of happen, but it wasn't significant.
Yeah, but it wasn't significant. Out of 100 people that played that game, maybe one person would role play and like go be a barber or a cook or something to help
Yeah,
everybody else.
it just doesn't
Yeah,
click well.
it,
But
it made an empty game feel more empty, and it took them years to correct that problem. And I think they did a good job of it because you can play the game pretty well now, and you can buy Fallout 76 for like $10.
yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Well, let's get into these topics a little bit. Speaking of me beating Final Fantasy VII, some news came out recently. They broke a bunch of sales records, like, and not
Oh yeah.
just the standard ones. Like, so it's the number 3 best-selling game overall this year, with only Modern Warfare and Animal Crossing: New Horizons above it. That's it. They're the only 2 games this year that are above it, and then and it's only a PS4 exclusive, which is kind of crazy. But then you got Animal Crossing as an exclusive as well. So,
Yeah.
and
And keep
what's
in
up?
mind that the Animal Crossing, because it's Nintendo, that's only physical sales. It's not reporting anything digital because
That's
Nintendo
true.
doesn't share
That's
digital.
true. So they're probably number 1, beating COD. But we got it is the best PS4 selling game this year, period, and it set the Final Fantasy franchise record now. Like,
Hmm.
completely broke. The Final Fantasy 15 was the last best-selling Final Fantasy game,
Yeah.
and it completely blew that out of the water. It sold 3.5 million copies in its first 3 days, and that's the
Which
only
is
like hard numbers they've released so far. But that's crazy in 3 days, and yet for it to break all these records, they're selling like hotcakes right now. In
I,
general, we were gonna bring up the MPD numbers as well,
mhm.
and it's the software sales are up 55% overall for all
Mhm.
of April right now. They just beat another record. Like, this is not just Final Fantasy. Like, all software sales are up 55% in the month of April, and it beat the record of $642 million for April of 2008. It beat that by 20 million as of right now for everything that's been counted. So, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that not all of it's been counted, but it's
With
ridiculous.
without going too far into the numbers, everyone's locked in at home, so everyone that does like the game
Yeah,
is totally gaming.
yeah. And then besides the software sales, no, just the discs. Let's put that aside. And hardware sales are up 163% this year from last year. And
It
I'm
is hard to find a console right now.
and yeah, and I'm guaranteeing most of that is because of quarantine, and that
Oh yeah.
also supports your theory that I also support of the PS4 being the best-selling console for sure. Like, it's gonna happen. I bet you the sales numbers are through the roof right now.
Yep.
So that's
And
very
just
interesting.
to rehash that idea, just for people who aren't familiar with it, we said, or more specifically, I said that as PS5 gets ready to come out, when they super drop the price of the PS4, being that the PS5 is going to be super expensive and harder to find, they're going to start selling even more PS4s than they have been all along.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think the PS4 is going to be the biggest selling game console ever.
yeah, it for sure has to be. Like, at this point, it's been, like you said, we reiterated last podcast that it was at what, 110. It was
One
110
ten or something
million,
like that. Yeah,
and then the PS2's at 160.
145.
One for oh, it's done. The conversation's over. We're getting another like
So
40, 50 million sold by the end, by like
so the
mid to
only
next year.
like the only like asterisk difference in that is it doesn't count handheld consoles.
Yeah,
This is just home.
yeah, but still, that's kind of
Because
crazy.
the Game Boy and the DS have something ridiculous like 200
Yeah.
million units floating around out there.
Yeah, the MPD numbers you were saying. So we know we got Modern Warfare, Animal Crossing, and Final Fantasy VII. Do you have the rest of the list?
Yeah, I have the full list. Are we looking for the month or for
Just
year to date?
whatever you got for us.
Okay. Well, the best-selling games of this past month of April, kind of running down the list. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, as Eric said. That's a number one spot. We have Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is kind of surprising for a game that came out last year to be in this year's top-selling number two.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to remember the Battle Royale mode that they released. That like new platform they're trying to build into
100%.
it.
That and the mix of the streamers constantly streaming that game right now, it's getting all those people to buy it.
Well, plus, I don't really play games, air quotes. What do you want to play with a friend? Call of Duty.
Madden.
Yeah. Never gets old.
No.
Speaking of, we have NBA 2K20. That is a game that is kind of middle of the road. It got some not so great reviews because of the microtransactions, but in doing so, they've been selling it for like $20 nonstop lately for normally a $60 game.
That's crazy. I didn't even realize that.
It started to get that like FIFA Ultimate Team vibe of like, oh, you need to buy a pack to make your NBA squad.
Yeah, I know. It got ridiculous at some point. I remember that.
They started charging to change haircuts of your characters in the game.
Yeah, I heard a few things about that, and like there's like some female thing too. Like if you want to change sexes, you have to pay, and like it's just a bunch of weird stuff in the game.
Hey, they got that NBA audience on lockdown, and they're just gonna take them for as much money as they can.
It's just whatever. Yeah, exactly. It's like they're like, okay, let's just make you pay for everything. That's what we'll do.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. So yeah,
So
what you got?
next on the list, not a huge surprise, but Grand Theft Auto 5, man, the game that won't die.
Yeah, I have a little bit of something about that game too. So that and then they're always topping the MPD charts, always. And they were just free on Epic Games Store as of yesterday. That stopped. So that's pretty ridiculous.
This is where the industry gets interesting because it was free for the end user.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely some kind of back-end business deal where Epic Games probably was giving a couple dollars a copy to Rockstar to make it free for people to come to their platform.
Yeah. It was crazy the amount of people, like, they shut down the servers of Epic Games Store when it launched. Everyone, like, they had a surprise game that was going to be on sale, surprise AAA game, I think they said. And then they announced the day of that it was going to be GTA, and then as soon as it went live, their server shut down. That's nuts.
I'm not surprised about the timing at all because it had just left Game Pass, and I think Rockstar and 2K is milking that franchise for all it's worth.
Oh yeah,
because basically anyone who's ever wanted to play that game already has it somewhere already.
Yeah.
And now they're just re-giving it away to get even more copies out there.
Yeah, I think they have a couple copies. Like most people.
I was reading a thing not too long ago that was saying if you count cross-platform sales, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best-selling anything of any property of all time.
Yeah.
It raised like $100 billion or something insane.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like at all. It's crazy. It's keeping on the GTA subject for just a second because it's a quick thing I wanted to get into. I just saw a video and I heard about this because I just grabbed GTA recently. One of the coolest things I've seen happen in video games recently. The community in GTA started an alien gang war in GTA, and it was a consistent thing through all the servers, blew up over social media, all that. There was green aliens that started just beating people down in the game. They were wearing green alien suits, but they would only melee. They would never use guns. That was the rule. They cause havoc in every server, but they never use guns. So it was like a good way of griefing, but it's not that bad because you can shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
And so then there was purple aliens that started showing up to save people from the griefing, but they would only use melee guns too. So this turned into a huge, widespread thing that people were constantly, everyone was dressing up as aliens. And then it became like this gang war and got crazy. And now it's like, there's no, oh, I beat you up, I save you thing anymore. It's just all out war between purple and green aliens. Yeah, it got crazy. Then like, I don't want to get too much into it. But IGN just did a big video on it, which I got like the full explanation of what the hell happened. It all kind of started on Reddit and yada yada yada. But go check out the IGN video. It just dropped, I think, yesterday or today. So it was really good. It was funny.
And that kind of reminds me of almost like some Roblox stuff. Of
yeah.
Like, oh, we're getting our own game.
Exactly. And I think like it's one of those things like that. It's just so cool. Like the fact that that could happen in a community online and nothing. The Rockstar had nothing to do with it. Like
Well,
awesome.
that's the huge thing about GTA. While it's lasted this long, there's so many mods,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many plugins, so much stuff you can buy extra on top of
Yeah.
the already basic stuff that it is really like a platform. It's a game as a service.
100%. It's kind of crazy, to be honest, like how deep that game has gone in the roots of like both consoles.
Yeah. So rolling back to the April numbers real quick. Number 6, a game that we've heard some good stuff about, but kind of just fizzled and went into the background a little bit. Resident Evil 3 remake.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't fully surprise me, but I think there's so much hype and build up around Resident Evil 2 that like it did so good, and this one kind of just came out really quick, and there wasn't like a big build up. So
I
that's
think
cool though.
Resident Evil 3 and Doom Eternal suffer from the same issue. That they're follow-ups to such a revolutionary like game / remake
100%.
that it's just more of the same. You're not reinventing the wheel at that point. It's just another wheel.
100%. I totally agree with you on that one. That's one of those things like where it's obviously the better version of it, but it doesn't mean it's gonna perform well.
Yeah. Number 7 for April, the Modern Warfare 2 remaster.
Oh boy.
Going to show you, man. People want that comfort food. People want the familiar things. Oh wait, it's the game I love that hasn't changed with better graphics.
Dude, that was one of those things that was rolling around on social media for the longest time of people going, I miss the old days. Bring back Modern Warfare 2. Remaster this. Please don't do what you did to Modern Warfare 1, because they added loot boxes and shit to it. And
yeah.
So they literally just remade the campaign. That's it.
Well, and didn't Modern Warfare 1 they put with Infinite Warfare, like you had to buy Infinite Warfare,
and then
to
they
get
have
it?
like years like 2 years later they started selling it. Yeah, it was
for full price.
Super shady. Activision needs to chill, dude. If they just do what everybody's saying, which they are with Modern Warfare now, they're straight up just dropping free DLC every month, like, and they're killing it.
Not to go too far down an Activision Blizzard tangent, I was talking with a friend of mine the other day. What do they have coming out?
Overwatch 2?
Yeah, exactly. And what,
Diablo
Call of Duty?
New Call of Duty.
Diablo 4 in like 3 years, and then the regular Call of Duty every year.
What I was gonna say, what else? When have they ever done anything else? They're making the Tony Hawk games again. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. That's it. Literally, they have 3 franchises, and that's it. 4.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. All they're doing is milking the same 3 cows over and over again. When the best thing you can do is announce a remake.
It's an endless cow. The cow's udders have just been bled dry, and they will keep pumping.
That's horrible.
Dude, they won't give up on it. They really won't. Like, they're never gonna stop.
Moving on down the list, number 8, we have what I like to refer as the I hate quarantine category. We start running into a lot of sports games.
Oh, yeah, okay then.
So we got
that's nothing too interesting. Just run them off.
MLB The Show at number 8. Love some baseball. Wish spring training was going on. It's not. What are you gonna do? Madden 20 at number 9.
And then
this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Number 10, Red Dead 2.
It's coming back.
A lot of people are looking for bang for their buck. Oh, where's that 150-hour game I didn't play last year?
Yeah, that's really cool, though. Like, that's cool that they're coming back, and it seems like people are like, oh, GTA, gotta get Red Dead as well.
Exactly. It also just showed up on Game Pass, so that's how a lot of my friends, myself included, are kind of touching it again.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass, so why not?
Yeah, fair enough. But, you got anything else from the MPD charts that you want to bring up?
Yeah, I'm just going to run through the remainders real quick. Number 11 is Just Dance 2020, because they sell every year because people love to dance.
Yeah, how many of these things is there? Because
they're annual.
I'm saying, what's the size of the list.
Oh, it's a 20. It just gives you the 20.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I figured I'd run through like the top 15. Yeah.
Go for it.
So number 12 is FIFA. Once again, another sports game.
Yeah.
Number 13, we have Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay.
14
That's still
is
going strong.
Still going strong. 14 is an interesting one. Borderlands 3.
That DLC's dropping, so it came back. Got it.
DLC's dropping. Now, the interesting thing about Borderlands 3...
And it's been on sale.
It's been on super sale. It was on Amazon for like $12 the other day.
Yeah, for sure.
They're really trying to push that. Also, with Borderlands 3, I was reading, even though it's not in the best games, highest sales of the year, it was the fourth best-selling game before Final Fantasy VII came out. And Final Fantasy VII just dropped that down the list.
Yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy just blew everybody out of the water, apparently.
Number 15, Predator Hunting Grounds. Very cool.
Okay.
And then we have 16, Mario Kart.
Wow.
17, Jedi Fallen Order.
What? It's still going too?
DLC, homie. DLC.
Yeah, it did just drop. It came back up. That's cool.
Once again, with that DLC remaster, remake, re-edition, Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, well, I expect that.
The PS3 game that came out. That, followed by Need for Speed Heat and Dragon Ball Kakarot.
Nice, dude. Honestly, the 10 through 20 list, I was pretty happy to hear a lot of those names because, like, they're really good games that didn't sell as good as they could have. And it's good to see them popping back up again.
And that 10 through 20 area, I think, is where you find a lot of, like, hidden gems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might not necessarily hear about the biggest, like, biggest press push for it, but that doesn't mean it's not a good game that doesn't deserve love.
Yeah, that's for sure. Speaking of sales in general, don't miss this, guys, because this is gonna be a big one. We got PlayStation Days of Play coming June 3rd through the 17th. They're gonna have huge deals across the board every year that they do this. It's big as hell, and it's the biggest sales time of the year for PlayStation.
Which usually coincides with what was E3.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. Xbox usually runs a sale right around the same time. So it's a good time. It's a good time to grab anything that you've been keeping an eye on that you haven't played yet.
Yeah, for sure. There's just in general huge deals across the board. All the greatest hits they have now are going to be half off. So instead of $20, they're going to be $10. So like stuff like Last of Us Remastered, you can pick up before it comes out. So that's good. And then 30% off discount on PS Plus in general. I'm pretty sure it's a 20% off for the 3-month, but still good. And then they're doing some kind of like promotional deal for any merchandise they're doing too. Their online store, like their PlayStation online store
it's
20% off store wide if you use a code. Cool. So that's cool. That they definitely looked out on that one. But into another story that I was talking to you about earlier, which I think is kind of funny and kind of like honestly like legit with these competitive battle royales. Fortnite skill-based matchmaking, it like kind of controversy right now. It's kind of weird. Like, so this dude Cypher PK, he's a big streamer. He got a software from one of his moderators on Twitch, and he got this thing where you can see how many real players and how many bots are in his game. And multiple matches were okay, and a couple other matches were good, but then like certain matches would have a ridiculous number of bots compared to players. And at one point, he got 89 bots in a 100-man game. That means there's 11 real players. Really, that means there's only 10 if you don't include him. So he's got 10 real guys to fight in the match. Like, that's a little ridiculous, if you ask me. So they've been getting into it back and forth. He's talking to people. He's telling Fortnite this stuff, showing it on a video. And then he gets demonetized on his video out of nowhere for doing what? I don't know. And then 2 days later, Fortnite drops skill-based matchmaking again, which is a big thing because everyone hates the skill-based matchmaking in public matches. They think it's okay in ranked, but they don't want it in regular public matches. And as soon as he said something about this, the only way they could fix it quickly is add back in skill-based matchmaking. So now everyone's yelling at this streamer and at Ninja because he was with them when he did it.
Well, and Ninja actually had an interesting thing to say about it the other day, kind of going with it and then continuing the conversation a little bit farther. He got into the thing of, well, one of the reasons he doesn't play Fortnite as actively as he used to is because now the game is so ping-based. It is so latency-based that if you have an SMG and you have a ping of 50 and somebody else is building a wall and they have a ping of like 15, your bullets are never going to be fast enough to penetrate their wall.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, the game got so competitive and so, like, intense that every little thing counted up until everyone was around the same skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're all around the same skill level, it's all about your advantages.
So one of the things I do that my friends that I play with can't stand is every single time I play, every match, I just ride the bus out all the way to the end and then go wherever I want. And one of the reasons I play it that way is because it's more of like a lotto system. Oh, I'm only fighting 60 people now instead of 100 because 30 people are already dead before I even hit the ground.
Yeah, that's, oh my God.
It's totally the cheap way to play, and I don't care.
I know. You're horrible with that. I gave up on Fortnite. I liked it for a while, but it's just one of those things. It's just too much because I have this competitive edge about me where, like, I'm either all the way in trying to practice every day or I gotta just play it once in a while for fun, and that's it. There's no in between for me.
So I usually have some kind of filler game, like, oh, it used to be Halo. Perfect example. I'll go run a couple matches of multiplayer in Halo, get a couple kills, get killed a couple times, and go play something I actually want to play, something I get into. Well, Fortnite has taken that, like, shooter spot for me for, like, years.
Yeah. I know what you mean, yeah. It did for me for a long time, too. But then now I'm playing more Apex and Call of Duty once in a while because I feel like I can jump into them and, like, have a few good matches, have some fun, and leave. And I'm not mad about it.
So you know what I've been playing, speaking of getting a few good matches and leaving. Battlefield 5 was on sale. So I picked that up for my buddy, and he and I have been running Battlefield 5 periodically. And you get some good matches, you get some bad matches, because Battlefield's not nearly as populated as Call of Duty, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you get really, really perfectly balanced or really just completely lopsided to the point of, like, oh, well, I shouldn't even do anything this round. You know, I got a server hop.
Yeah, it's crazy, though. That's it.
So I went...
Those are weird games when it gets to that point.
I went back and started playing Battlefront 2, the Star Wars game. Okay. That game got a lot better, that they finally went back and rebalanced it and refixed it. It always was graphically amazing, and it always played fantastic, but the microtransaction and the fact that there was no, like, experience system and no, like, progression, it was all random loot box based, really ruined that game for a lot of people, and they kind of fixed it.
Oh, yeah, it definitely ruined that game for a lot of people. It was a little much. Yeah,
because the original Battlefront 1 showed a lot of promise, but it didn't flesh out, like, some of the space combat and some of the areas as much as you'd want to. This one, they built it up a lot more, and then they just microtransactioned it into the ground.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Joey and Drew did the same thing you did. They hopped back into it a little bit just to check it out. It was on sale for like a few bucks, and they fell in love with it, like, for a little while. Like, of course, it's you know, it's like a Call of Duty multiplayer, essentially. Like, you eventually get bored of it. Like, you play it for a while, you enjoy it, and that's that.
So, having gone through May the 4th and just watching the end of Clone Wars just happen, there's something really satisfying being able to jump in as a droid or, like, a clone trooper and just running through people.
Hell yeah. You should totally check out the wave-based mode in Jedi Fallen Order. I think you'd really enjoy that.
Okay.
Like, it's really good. Like, and then, like I said, they have, like, a chessboard almost where you can set up. You have 100 points, and then you have a list of every enemy in the game. and they each are worth a certain amount of points, and you can put them on the board and then hop in and try and fight them. It's really cool.
So I was super into Fallen Order, and I love Fallen Order, but that was one of those games when I finished it. It was like having a great steak and a great meal. I was like, I'm done, and I just pushed the plate away and I uninstalled, and I was perfectly content.
That's why I appreciated them saying they weren't gonna do DLC, and I appreciated it from who was it? God of War as well. Like that really like it makes it work better when you go. Well, this is it. This is what you get, and that's it. And no, you'll see the second one.
Yeah, and God of War did a new game plus mode for theirs, right?
Yeah. That's I like that. That the like fine tuning updates. That's great, but like adding a DLC to a game means you didn't finish the game in the first place. Essentially, like there's two ways of looking at it. It can be a true full game, and then you add on to it, but most of the time it's not like that. I think it was cool for them to add like everything they wanted into that, because they have two worlds in God of War that you can easily put in as DLC. Like they're like wave based or like challenge based worlds. Mm-hmm. So like you don't have to do them 100%. So they're perfect for DLC, but they just added it.
Is that like that Niflheim part or whatever?
Yes, Niflheim, and then there's another world. I forget what the other world's called off the top of my head, but yeah, it's like two main areas that you can challenge mode it. But you were saying you had an idea to talk about some stuff, which I think was a good one. The games that we are looking forward to the most. So why don't you take it away on that?
Yeah, we brought up the conversation amongst ourselves the other day that Avengers and Cyberpunk 2077 as I trip over myself, both got moved to the beginning of September. Mm-hmm. And I had them both pre-ordered, and I was like, hey, they're 2 weeks apart. You know what I don't need 2 weeks apart? Two of the biggest games of the year.
Yeah, and like you mentioned to me that you don't often play with other people in those kind of games, so to me it's different, because Cyberpunk is a single player that I'll play by myself, and then when my friends are on, I'll hop on Avengers and I'll enjoy that. That's where it is with me. So
plus, me personally, what I've seen of Avengers looks okay, but like it didn't jump out and grab me. I'm not like on that hype train or anything.
No, I completely feel you on that. Yeah, they're definitely the two top games that I'm looking forward to, but you, my friend, don't have a PS4. So, I am planning on doing like some sort of stream and running The Last of Us Part 1 all over again. I'm restarting it because I haven't played, like I played it in a long time, and I think I'm a little more than halfway through it, and I'm stuck at some crazy hard part. So and I'm pretty sure I put it on the hardest difficulty. So that's why I kind of got stuck. So whatever. I haven't played it in a long time. I need to beat it, and I'm definitely looking forward to Last of Us 2 because of how it looks. So yeah. I'm really, really looking forward to that. And of course, the Ghost of Tsushima, which I talked about a lot last podcast.
Go spend some time with Ellie and Joel before you jump back in.
Yeah, I have to play the first story to fruition. Like I haven't done it yet, and that's like one of my biggest fucks. That and Uncharted, I just haven't.
It's such a roller coaster ride. It's such a ride.
It's just unfortunate that I didn't have a PS3, so I just didn't play those series. And when I got a PS4, I didn't want to hop back in.
And I had a PS3, and that was like one of the only games I played on it.
Yeah. Everybody loved Uncharted and Last of Us. It was the games to have on PS3.
Uncharted was fun, but Uncharted never really grabbed me because it was just Indiana Jones to me. It was like the first game was great.
It was Tomb Raider, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a refined version of Tomb Raider. They knew there was a market for it. There wasn't great Tomb Raider games at the time. They were like, "This is perfect. Let's hop in here and do some cool shit." And it worked.
So one of the games that's coming up soon that we recently just got a nice little kind of tease of, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes, I was just gonna say to you that's one of the games I'm very much looking forward to, because I love the Rome thing. I'm gonna love Vikings more.
You mean Odyssey with the Greeks?
Yeah, I love Italy and Rome and all that. It's awesome. So I am hyped. I love that, but I'm gonna love the Viking stuff way more.
The Viking stuff also seems more diverse.
Yes.
I lost track of how many hours I put into Odyssey. I finished the main story. I did not finish all the DLC. I have to go back and finish the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much DLC that like Fate of Atlantis and a lot of that stuff kind of got, I don't want to say lost, but it came so late in its life cycle. I didn't get to enjoy it the way I wanted it to.
What's up,
Um,
Murphy? Murphy's watching us right now.
hey Murph.
Mm-hmm.
But I put about 175 hours into that game, and I was still ready for more.
Yeah.
That game was amazing, but that game was almost too big.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I had that issue quite a few times where I just can't do a game because I knew it's too big. That's what I'm kind of worried about with Cyberpunk. I know it's going to be too expansive.
So a couple different notes. First of all, I'm not worried about that with Cyberpunk because with that environment, if you do it right, like with that Fallout City vibe, it just accidentally chains quests together that don't get overpowering, but you just got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, and you just go forever. Yeah.
I think Valhalla is going to be awesome for the same reason I think Odyssey was awesome. Is they looked at Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4, and were like, "Yo, let's get that ship combat in there."
Yeah, for sure. And Odyssey did a decent job of it, but like the Viking stuff's gonna be sick because they have like crazy tactics, and if they do like the army based stuff a little better, where you kind of can control your army in some way. Like maybe if you do something like Final Fantasy, you stop time for a minute and you can boom, boom, boom. Like
what I would like to see them do with some of those big army battles is have them mean more.
Yeah, I know, because Odyssey was so boring with it. It was like, okay, let me kill these big guy and a few other guys, and that was it.
It wasn't even boring per se, as it didn't have an impact. Oh, you just want some treasure?
Yes.
You want to go massacre a bunch of people? Doesn't matter which side you're fighting for, whatever.
Yeah,
unless it was an island that had a story based.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Like it didn't really matter, and you didn't feel bad if you picked one side or the other to kill. You could literally stay on one piece of the island and take it over for the Athenians, and then take it over for the Spartans, and back and forth and back. It just didn't matter. So yeah, I agree with you on that. It should mean more.
So Ubisoft's interesting problem that we were talking about in the pre-show. Rainbow Six new expansion, Quarantine.
Yeah, that's a funny name right now. They did it. Hey, to be fair, they named it before we were in quarantine, but they're probably gonna have to change it a little bit.
It almost, from everything I've seen of it, almost has like a virus-based zombie-like play to it.
Yes.
So I think they're gonna change the name to something more zombie-esque.
Yeah,
you know
like a Rainbow Six Apocalypse or something. Who knows?
Even that.
Yeah. Well, but we're not in the apocalypse right now. We're just stuck.
We're just locked in.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We'll get there, but we're not there yet.
But that's one of those things. I think there's a slate of upcoming games this year that are going to have to kind of adapt to everything that's going on in the real world. It's not so much the games that are getting ready to come out in the next couple months that are going to be affected by all this. It's the games that are getting ready to come out next year and the year after that.
Yeah, for sure.
Phil Spencer was doing an interview that was like, "Oh yeah, no, everything that's supposed to come out still coming out. Everything that's still getting worked on isn't really getting worked on."
No. If it was wrapped or it needs updates and that's it, then it's coming. But that's the scary part. Like, are we getting Avengers? Because they were already having issues as it was. They pushed it back as it was because people felt weird about the launch setup or the you know what I mean, the presentation. They felt weird about it. So yeah, we could see another delay.
Not only that, but for a game like Avengers where they tried to show behind the scenes stuff and it looks like there's a lot of motion capture involved in that. Nobody's motion capturing anything right now.
For sure not. No.
Nothing's really getting done.
No, and I think they're going to look at their time slot as well, and they're going to go, do we really want to go up against Cyberpunk 2077 right now? Do we really want to do that? I could see them going to December at the earliest. I could see them going to 2021, though.
we were looking at this kind of problem last year with Red Dead 2 when everyone was scrambling to get out of the way of Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
Red Dead 2 moved a couple months and still screwed everybody.
everything. So yeah, they fucked a lot of people with that. Their sales were like through the roof, and everyone else's was, normal. But yeah, other than that, other game that I can think of that I'm looking forward to is, if it's gonna happen, is Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which I've heard a lot of rumors about and stuff like that. Like, the PS5 is coming out, the Xbox Series X is coming out like in a few months. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really know what games are coming. Like, we do, but there's definitely a few secrets out there that are gonna be launch games that we don't know about. So, like, they have to make a few exclusive games for PS5 and Xbox Series X to get people to buy them. Like,
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those generations where we see a lot more cross-generational games to support.
mm-hmm.
They've already said a lot of these games as a service, like Destiny and Fortnite and everything, are going to be on the next gen consoles.
Yeah,
Are they going to take full advantage of them? I highly doubt it, because they have to be optimized to run on the most basic hardware.
yeah, that's very true. And it's gonna be a little bit of a weird transition. I think it is, because they're gonna be having to downgrade a lot of games to work on the PS4. Like, any third party company, they're not gonna have the infrastructure or the money to just go, okay, let me make it for only the PS5. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, they're
And
gonna have to do both consoles, because there's not gonna be enough sales on the PS5 right away.
oh yeah, most definitely. Now obviously they have the PSN as like a backbone to try and have that, like, instant marketplace there for them.
Yeah,
But
100%.
one of the other interesting games that we recently got a video from Microsoft with on their third party stage the other week was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2.
Yes, that and Bright Memory, both of those look
Yes.
incredible.
Very weird stylized games.
Yeah,
Looking forward to what they could be. Not so much what they are, but what they could be.
yeah. The
Um,
vampire game is kind of up in the air for me. I'm not, like, I'm not too familiar, but I've heard a lot of good things.
I messed with the original back in the 90s, like 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. We're not going to talk about that. Um, it it had so many branching options for a game back in the day. I can see why it's taking them this long to try and develop that game now, because trying to have that many branching paths while keeping the story, the voiceover, and the graphics on par, you're essentially making 4 separate games and cramming them together.
Yeah, that's just a lot. It's a lot.
Well, because you can play your vampire literally any way you want. You can be a regular vampire terrorizing and eating people, or you can try and be like I'm going to be a fan of Phantom of the Opera hero kind of vampire and
Yeah.
hide in the shadows.
Yeah, that is a very interesting concept, though. I could see this working out very well for them if they do it right, because there's a big community behind that, like, vampire
Huge.
world. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could see that being huge. And then Bright Memory is such an awesome thing. Have you seen Gamerang's video on Bright Memory?
I have not, but having seen the trailer for
Yes.
Bright Memory Infinite on that
Yes,
stage,
Bright Memory Infinite.
I went to Steam and watched the Bright Memory trailer.
No, they're the same thing. It's Bright Memory
Okay.
Infinite. Yeah, I just am calling it that. It's a big name. But
Well, Bright Memory is episodic.
oh yeah, it's gonna be. Yes, there's only one game. This is the first thing that's ever came out for it.
Yeah, there's only one episode.
Yeah. Okay. So Bright Memory Infinite is made by one developer, and it completely. And he didn't even use coding. Apparently, he used Unreal Engine's creator program, and it's a linking system where you can literally take like a pre-coded section, and then you do if then you know what I mean, if this happens then this happens kind of shit, and you tie it all together, and it's no coding involved whatsoever. And then he turned it into NVIDIA's creators program. He turned in like a copy of it, and they gave him a huge grant, and he was able to like put way more into it and do a lot with it. And then RTX is showing it off now, saying like, look what one creator can do, and look how it looks when RTX is turned on.
So back in the day,
Incredible,
and
though.
they still have iterations of it. It was an RPG maker.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about that.
You literally could just build your own like 8-bit, 16-bit classic games just by what you're talking about. If then like scripting it essentially. It's not nearly as complex as what he's trying to do, but it's the next like evolution of like, oh, here's dreams, here's an engine and a platform. Just go make stuff.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And I think like this game could blow the roof off of what could happen in the near future, because if he can show a game like that, it's going to inspire so many people to make small teams and to go and try something on their own. So we're going to see a lot of like a resurgence of indie teams coming out soon, for sure.
So speaking of a indie team being maybe supported by a larger developer, Ubisoft is making a weird game called Roller Champions. It is a rollerblading game that feels to me kind of like Rocket League, but with rollerblades, and it's a multi-team scoring kind of thing.
It's it's the roller rink thing. It's like a big circle. Roller derby. That's the word for it. Yes.
Funhouse and those guys got an alpha gameplay video up. I watched a little bit of that. I looked at some of the Ubisoft stuff. The alpha was open. I don't know if it still is, if you want to get your hands on it. It feels very Rocket League, and I think they're trying to get into that Rocket League money, because Rocket League's been around for years and is basically a platform, a game as a service at this point.
Yeah.
They're not going to make a Rocket League 2.
They got bought by Epic Games. Like they know what they're doing. So yeah, it's definitely a market that has room to sprout something new like that. So it could be interesting.
And along with those kind of weird non-standard things, Watch Dogs Legion. I haven't heard a lot about that in a while.
I do look forward to it. I'll tell you that.
You can make any character supposedly as an agent or whatever. I think that's going to be a very taxing game in a way that people aren't necessarily prepared for.
Yeah, I think that's why it was one of the main ones to get delayed quickly, because it's a very like complex game.
I think if they try and run that on a base Xbox One or a base PS4, it's going to cough and sputter.
I think that's the problem with it right now, not coming out. I think it's a big part of the problem. We might see that as a next-gen only game. I could see it happen.
Oh, yeah. Trying to run something that, like, graphically and CPU heavy on, like, 8-year-old hardware?
Yeah, and with the ability to just switch characters on the fly and completely like rotate where you are on the map, and like that's a lot of.
Not to mention the fact that since there's so many options and possibilities, can you imagine the loading?
Yeah, that's for sure, dude. Now that we're talking, there's a lot more games out there to look forward to than I could think of before. Like there's quite a few. I mean, a lot got delayed. But the only two that I can think of to look forward to right now, like near future, is The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, because they're only a month or two out. But then otherwise, like everything's after September, and it's gonna be stacked.
Yeah, the closest thing for me is the stealth drop of Paper Mario on Switch.
When is that release date?
July 7th, July 10th, something like that.
Okay, so another one. All right, so there's 3 or 4 games coming out near future. There's not too many this summer. It's all right at the end.
Yeah, this summer season, with the way everything was going down, seems to have just like
wiped it,
gone away with E3, and everything kind of got pushed or bumped, which is why we're getting weird console announcements at random times and weird trailers.
Yeah. Do you have anything else off the top that you're looking forward to coming up?
Tunic. That's about it.
Oh, I remember that game. I'm surprised I thought that was out already.
That's one of those games where I believe it might have been on Steam or something in one form or another.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those games that's made by a single person. It's very like Super Nintendo classic graphics.
That's the little fox dude, right?
Correct. It's like a Fox version of old school Zelda.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay. I swore that was out already. I guess there's an early access program or something on Steam, like you said. That might make sense. But other than that, the last thing I wanted to bring up is the donation stream situation. So, if any of you haven't heard or saw any of my posts, I'm going to be doing a donation stream in the near future. We are planning now, but I wanted to make sure I brought it up in the podcast. And I'm not sure if we'll bang out another podcast before then, but going to do a big, long, like 12-hour minimum, depending on how many people I get to help out, stuff like that. But yeah, like a 12-hour stream trying to help the CDC Foundation. They got back in touch with me and they said that they would help out, and they're going to send me like a toolkit to set up everything. And they're going to set up the link for me, and everybody can come and help donate to the CDC to help people out right now. It's crazy out there. So, we're going to get a few creators, have some music, have maybe some art, possibly, and then a bunch of games and hanging out with friends. We're going to see what we can do.
If you guys have any requests for anything you'd like to see, any games you want us to play, any content, please shout it out in there. Let us know. I was thinking maybe you're starting to run through some old school Castlevania, maybe Symphony of the Night.
Maybe, yeah. I was thinking maybe a board game of some sort. Goofy, like weirdness, like a little drinking, playing a board game or something, and just trying to have fun, get people to come hang out with us, and hopefully donate to the stream and help some people out. That and Super Smash Brothers and racing games, like stuff that we can play as a group, have fun. But yeah,
we consider ourselves kind of lucky. We're not super affected by everything right now, so we just want to try and give back to people.
Yeah, definitely help. I'll be donating myself, I'm sure. Yeah, but if you can, please come help out. It will be on Rarity, the Rarity Games Facebook channel for sure. I'm trying to work out doing a simulcast stream. If it runs correctly, I'm going to try to run it to YouTube and maybe Mixer and maybe Twitch as well, all at the same time, if it works out.
What I was thinking is we'll have to talk offline. I might have you broadcast, and then I'll rebroadcast your feed from my desktop.
That's not the worst idea. That way
you're not stressing the recording.
Yeah, because I'm going to be using a website called Recast, I believe it's called.
Yeah, I know about that.
Restream, that's it. But either way, that should work. And they said it doesn't take load off your computer or anything. So, we'll see. If they are doing it on a back-end server somewhere where it can go from point A to point B, I don't care if there's a little lag as long as it's running right.
Anyway, people don't want to hear about this.
You get my point. I'm trying to get it done, and like I said, we're in the planning stages, but somewhere around the first week of June, maybe earlier than second week of June, depending on what everybody's schedule. But that's the plan.
If it works out perfectly, we might be able to have the stream right around the time E3 would have been going on. Ooh. So,
I mean, probably not gonna help us much, but we don't got any announcements.
We'll have announcements.
Announcements of not anyone's video games.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's pretty much it for today. I appreciate anyone that stopped by during the live stream. This will be up. The full podcast will be up on YouTube and Facebook soon. So make sure you guys check it out if you haven't, if you're at the end. But yeah, thank you guys as always for watching. Make sure you come to check out that donation stream. Please follow us on Facebook and come help us out. You got any last words, Chris?
Keep on gaming.
Well, there it is. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.